already guess how this video is gonna go. Either it's gonna be God's creative takes or the worst takes you have ever heard in your entire life. So, before we go forth, a lot of the changes are down to my opinion. Not every character will get a big massive change and are mostly for fun. In this case, one change could affect other things, like changing an R special which ties to other moves, so those other moves also change. If you have a better idea for changing a character, then you can let me know down in the comments. So with that, let's talk about Yuji. Okay, we should probably go in order. Gojo is a character that most people start out with. Although, most people usually swap off of Gojo due to their repetitiveness and objectively better picks. With little variety to his kit besides his main combo, I have decided to change the R special. The teleport stays as is besides maybe a slightly longer wind up time of 0.1 second, but where this actually comes in is during the grabs. Pressing R at the start of a grab move initiates a quick time event, similar to Dead by Daylight or the attacking system in Undertale. If you manage to correctly land a quick time event, you're granted extra ult meter and the move will perform a variant, dealing a little bit more damage. Missing the quick time event, however, makes the enemy push you away, ragdolling you. This will lead to less damage being dealt overall. Not using your R special during a grab will just perform the normal base attack. The other minor change I will include is an R variant to the Awakened Lapse Blue. It could just be shooting the Lapse Blue outwards or just encasing somebody in debris, which we see with the Lapse Blue finisher. But why these changes? Gojo in canon has the 6 eyes, which grants him extra cursed energy manipulation. Having the R special do a safe quick time event during a grab attack would allow an example of this cursed energy manipulation. This doesn't hinder the new players starting out, and for the already existing players, gives additional options during fights. Okay, now let's talk about Yuji. Oh god, where do I start? The character that no one seems to be happy with no matter what the devs do. It doesn't matter if you're on the Yuji hate or love train. This character is still controversial. You've probably heard of the running joke of Yuji getting nerfed over and over and over again. Well, there's a good reason for that. The tech that Yuji has is absolutely abysmal to fight against. Be it that fucking bird that I hate or just stupid extenders nobody needs in the game. So, let's throw fainting entirely out the window in favor for a movement option. Using your R special drains around 6 to 8% of your ultimate meter. With this, you're given the option to launch yourself into the air with a dismantle at the ground. I know, before you pointed out, this technically isn't Awakened Yuji, but for the sake of this video and my sanity, let's have this as an exception. To actually get launched into the air, you need to have solid ground below you. Doing your R special normally in the air shoots out a singular dismantle below you, leading to some interesting combo ideas, but also having to pick between a great movement option or a little bit of extra damage. Hakari is an interesting case as it isn't really missing anything crucial and is pretty decently well balanced. So instead of entirely changing a move or mechanic, let's add a small yet fun addition to how you would treat playing Hakari. Normally, filling your ultimate meter and getting a jackpot with either an odd or even number grants a different buff. If you get a jackpot with an even number and you do a domain again, you get faster spins. If you get a jackpot with an odd number, you get better luck. Regardless of which spin you get, you always get 50% ult meter back. If you die after or during a jackpot, these passives disappear. So why not have these passives stack with a little catch? Each passive counts as 1 stack. You can max off 4 stacks. Same as before, if you die, you lose all your passives. The normal ult meter you get back now is 40% instead of 50. If you get a jackpot with an even number, you get faster spins, but also 10% more ult meter. So now it's back up to 50%. If you got all 4 stacks as even numbers, you can have up to 80% ult meter after a jackpot ends with faster spins. Although, I think this would simply lead to people doing back-to-back domains, so let's make the maximum ult back to 70%. Same idea goes for the odd number, except you don't get extra ult meter back, and you get extra luck. Before 4 luck stacks, you basically get your jackpot back first try no matter what. You can get a mix of both, either 2 locks and 2 speed stacks, or 1 lock and 3 speed stacks, or any other combination. This will change how aggressively people play Hakari, leading to some insane snowball moments.
Hey Myth, I can change your mind on this whole idea.
Yeah, okay. How so? Yeah, you're right, let's just remove Hakari. Due to my producer advising me not to talk about removing Megumi for this entire section, I've decided to do a small change that really won't change a character at a fundamental level. Look, Megumi is a character that pretty much sucks to play with if you don't know how to. But if you're an experienced Megumi player, then you can essentially insert a Konami code to remove your opponent from the game. One change will not improve either side of this. So let's add a change that won't particularly affect the balance of the character. Pressing G puts you into the Maharaga summoning pose, which shortly after goes into the normal ultimate animation we have now. If you hold G up until the first flash, you will start to summon Maharaga, with the same condition as before, where you can be hit out of your summoning. This will free up the 4th move. For this video, we will use the shadow mechanic Megumi has. Using this in domain will weaken the sure hit effect. This specifically applies for Sukuna's and Gojo's domain, as the rest are non-lethal. Using it normally shoots out an AoE of shadows. Pressing the move again will lock anyone hit initially in place. Alternatively, you could just make it a domain, but Megumi can't open a domain unless he is encased. The use for this would be so minimal, so I won't be including this here. Mahito on its own is one of the best characters the game has to offer. It has ragdoll combos and it has true combos. Regardless of that, it is one of the better balanced characters. Probably because it took 2 months to release, the longest the character has ever taken in JJS. With that, let's leave the balancing alone and give the idle transfiguration a new mechanic. Normally, finishing someone with Focus Strike turns the enemy into mush with idle transfiguration, regardless if it's a black flash or not. With this change, finishing someone with Focus Strike will turn them into a transfigured human. This would use the recently added NPC system. To make this balanced, you can kill a transfigured human with a total of 4 hits. The transfigured human can only use M1s as well. If you were to make it any more powerful, then it would be extremely unfair to fight against. The transfigured human isn't supposed to be anything more than pressure in a fight. They're easy to get rid of, but you're forced to pick on how you approach a fight against a Mahito. Same idea goes for item transfiguration for the ultimate, except here you can spawn an involved transfigured human after killing somebody with item transfiguration. This time they take around 5 hits to kill and their damage is upped exponentially. At any given time you can only have 1 transfigured human with you. It despawns after, let's say, 30 seconds. Overall keeps Mahito as is, but gives it a small touch to make it a bit more fun. I have been waiting to talk about this character, with how good this character is. The best idea for a change is to the dashes itself. Whenever you dash, you lose 1 move from your moveset until you have no more moves left and are forced to reset.
Man!
Why? What is it?
This isn't even a change. You can't be saying to just straight up remove a character the more you play it.
Ugh, fine. Let's actually talk about what we can do with this character. So, you know how the last character took 2 months to make? This took a few weeks. Due to this, I'd say it's missing a lot of the quality and potential Choso could have had. It is also a combo demon that no one apparently knows how to use correctly. One change cannot really change the balancing of this, but let's try. But first, let's talk about the actual curse technique. Blood manipulation can be used extremely creatively. You can even go as far as to create items out of blood or even armoring yourself. Sadly, we see barely any of this. To make the blood bubbles actually more interesting and not just a straight up damage buff, using Ardering Blood Edge allows you to keep your knives at the cost of 1 blood bubble. This gives a variant to flowing red scale, after which you lose the knives. Using the knives to attack normally would make you attack slightly faster. Using Blood Edge again simply does the same animation. Now for the other variants. Using Ardering Flow Red Scale makes you do a variant attack, at the end of which you have blades coming out of your hands, slashing the opponent. Once again, this will consume 1 blood bubble. Also, this isn't technically one change, but give it some finishers. It's a little bit lacking at that department. Z really had to be on something to be making this character. But let's get back on track. To use Todo efficiently, you need to put in double the effort you would for any other character, with maybe the exception of Megumi. Using Boogie Woogie on its own can be punishing to you unless you are far away, in which case it doesn't even matter unless you turn around. Mind you, this doesn't even work on lock-on players. To make it a lot more fun and consistent, holding R now allows you to enter a Deadeye system. While in this mode, you're unable to move. Now aiming your cursor over someone and then left clicking makes you swap with them as many times as you clicked. The amount of times you clicked would instantly drain from your ult meter. You can cancel these Boogie Woogies with either an attack or using a move. And of course these are blockable, so the enemy can either block or take the Boogie Woogies. In general, it makes it a lot better because this would be faster in a way, and entering a fight would also become a lot easier. Anyways, do tell me, what do you think about this change? Because I feel like people will be really split about this, be it the Todo players or the people who play against Todo. And for the last full moveset character, I don't really see much to be done here. I guess changing the R special outside of the moves to make the gavel longer whenever you hit somebody at the cost of speed. That's basically it. I don't see much else to be done here. With our first base moveset character, we have the Locust Curse, which I don't really know what to do with either. I guess move the entire character. Okay, seriously though, the only change I'd really make is being able to fly for longer when holding R at the cost of your ult meter. I don't really see any possible changes here. This is an easy one as this character is currently missing an R special, so let's give it just that. Pressing R allows you to wield Garuda for around 10 to 15 seconds. Alternatively, instead of wielding Garuda, you simply add mass to your fists with a visual indication. This gives the additional passive of the last one always going through block no matter what. Also changing your fourth move to perhaps become an AoE attack instead will be pretty cool. Also having a longer dash would also spice up the gameplay a bit. This will greatly drain your ultimate meter upwards of 15%. That concludes this video. I feel I could have done a lot more for the last few characters as I just didn't know what to add. You can tell me what you think. Also, let me know if you have noticed an upsurge in quality as I have finally gotten used to my new editing software, so expect a lot more videos. Anyways, with that, I will see you in the next one.